Yo, what is up, everybody? Back again. Y'all already know
Hey,
what
Nail,
it is.
play that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, this man got the background.
You already know, man. Easy money. Well, it should be easy money, but like
Look,
I said,
knock on wood.
Look at the rookies in draft picks. We got Dean and we got Davis. It doesn't get better than this.
yeah, put that shit on.
As Rick Bobby said, if you ain't first,
You're
you're
last.
last.
Exactly.
Second place is at 2.
Definitely gonna make up for it.
Trust me. I need a sports podcast, man. I need it. Yo. What is good, everybody? I need a sports podcast back in action. And we got a special guest with us today. Our guy Eric from eToff 21 Sports is back on the pod. Eric, welcome back. It's been a minute since you've been on, I believe. It's been since basketball season, maybe?
It's been a while. Thanks for having me back. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. So we got Eric on as our resident Detroit Lions fan. So today we're talking about the NFC North. And this is actually our final division episode to record. This week we'll start rolling out the NFC episodes. So this marks 8 out of 8 divisions. And next week we finally have real NFL football back. It's been a long time coming. I know all of us have missed the game equally besides maybe Chris, because he's hoping on a bad year for his Cowboys. But I'm excited for the league to be back, man. Excited to get back to betting on these games and doing the weekly podcast involving the NFL, man. But welcome all the boys. We got a full squad again today, so that's what's up. Everybody's back. But yeah, man, let's hop into this NFC North preview. Now, this division, after losing Aaron Rodgers a year ago, it was up in the air. Who was going to take it? Detroit Lions obviously had a great 2022 and, had momentum coming into the year. They capitalized off that momentum. They took the division last year with a 12-5 record. But this year coming around, it's looking like this division might have an argument to be the best or the most competitive division in the entire league. You got the Lions returning a good portion of everybody from last year. You got the Packers who came on late, second half of the year. Jordan Love caught fire. They're returning everybody with a few key additions. You got Chicago Bears reloaded and retooled, drafted Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze in the first round. And Minnesota, they got pieces. They did just have McCarthy go down with the torn meniscus. I don't know if he was going to be the starter to begin the season, but I felt like he would have got playing time. But he was looking good in the one preseason game we did see him. But with Kevin O'Connell, I think he's a pretty good coach. I think they'll still possibly be competitive. So is this the hardest division in the league this year for the 2024-25 NFL season? I'm gonna let Eric answer first as a guest and then swing it to you guys next. But I definitely think if I had to say so, I would say this division looks like it's going to be the hardest as of right now on paper.
Maybe I'm just a homer, but I don't think it is. I think I'm not that high on the other teams. I think the Lions are heads and shoulders above everyone else. I think each team has a little bit of holes in them and some kinks in their armor. And if Davenport and Reeder on the defensive line for the Lions can be anything what they were in years past, I think they're going to be pretty stout.
Yeah, y'all did get that was a good pickup. DJ Reeder from Cincinnati wanted to get paid a little bit. Cincinnati owner's always been notoriously cheap. Didn't pay him. Jamar Chase still hasn't gotten paid. Today CD got paid, so we'll see if that goes anywhere. But so you think y'all are heads and shoulders above everybody, even the Packers maybe? You think last year was more so a fluke than what?
I think last year was a fluke. Like I look at this team and like who's their best player? Like who's their quote unquote star? I mean, I don't think they have anyone that really moves the needle. I think their best players on the offensive line. When we look at the back half of the season last year, Jordan Love, all his passes were off his back foot. And we all know you can't be successful in the NFL throwing off your back foot. And from what I was told, they had to do that because his arm strength was just too much for the receivers to hold on. It was a back throw that led to an INT in the game against the 49ers, which they absolutely blew. I think they have some questions on some defense. They're bringing in the guy from BC because they were so bad against the run. But the guy at BC, whose name I'm spacing on, when we look at his track record at BC, they were awful in college football in the ACC stopping the run. So I don't really think that's going to be able to band-aid the issue they have. I think they're going to be down. I think the Bears, their expectations are a little unrealistic with a rookie quarterback. And the Vikings, they just have the worst injury luck in the league right now.
Yeah, they've had one of the worst off seasons probably in a long time. They had the corner from TCU who have, you know, sadly passed away earlier this summer. I think they had two corners go down with back to back days. McCarthy tore his meniscus. They said he's out in the season. Um, Addison, I don't know. I don't think they will, but there was potential talks that they might like have a team inflicted suspension for him because of all his troubles off the field. Really, the only bright spot was Justin Jefferson signing his record deal, but now it's like, who's really going to be there to help him? I guess the one good draft pick they had was Dallas Hunter, the edge from Alabama. He fell to them, so but they lost the Neil Hunter to the Texans. What about y'all? I'll go with you first, Swan. How do you think this division lines up compared to the rest of the NFL?
I'm gonna still say the AFC North is the toughest division, only because of the consistency it brought over the years. Just looking at that roster, the Steelers got better defensively. The Ravens are still the Ravens. You know, the Bengals have their thing going on over there, and then the Browns still have like, even though they're like probably like the weakest link out of the four, they still have I guess you could say like a somewhat team that could make a scary run. Against that division. Um, However, with this division though, like Eric said, the Packers, they like the whole thing with the back foot, that's gonna be an issue. Jordan Love didn't get hot until the second half of the season, and then everybody was really skeptical of what he did in the playoffs. That playoff win was kind of like how, I'm not comparing it to Daniel Jones, but it's kind of like how the Giants had beat the Vikings. That that upset pretty much when everybody was like the Cowboys heavily favored. And nobody really expect a young team in Green Bay to do what they did. Same way, like everybody thought that Minnesota was going to beat the Giants, and then Daniel Jones gets money. So the biggest question going to be is like, did they pay Jordan Love too soon? And then it also like goes with their receiving talent. Like Christian Watson can't stay healthy and everything like that. However, though, I feel like Green Bay can still have a great season just because like the additions they brought. Bringing in. I always say Xavier McKinley is probably one of my favorite safeties in the league, like young safeties. So bring him over can help them secondary wise, and then and then bringing Josh Jacobs go younger and stronger in the running back game. So I feel like do something. Now the thing with the Bears though, I always remember I said it too. I said like I feel like even though they really good on paper and everything, I feel like they putting a little bit too much on Caleb Williams. He's just a rookie at the end of the day. Like yeah, they got the expectation to them to make like the NFC Championship, blah blah blah, make playoffs. That's cool, but it's like at the end of the day, you also got to realize he's still dealing with a rookie, and so I feel like they can be like last episode. I feel like they could be one of them like sneaky ins, like, last seed or whatever, they can make a strong push. But at the end of the day, their head coach, they still got Matt as their head coach. So it all depends on how he coaching them. But yeah, that's how I look at it. I feel like Detroit's like he's still in their own league. Them add DJ Reader. I really forgot they added him. That's crazy because that's like probably one of the most underrated free agency ads. And you paying St. Brown, you getting Sewell his money. I feel like they could be probably second or maybe even third compared to other divisions. I feel like they definitely be top three though, but they wouldn't be number one. I still got AFC North as number one still.
So you said before I pass it to Chris or Kim, you said AFC North. You said the Steelers are decent. I was thinking that, but I don't know if you've seen. They've been playing Russell Wilson and Justin Fields
Yeah,
all preseason games, and they have looked god awful on offense. Like that defense can only hold up so much. I feel like, and God
yeah,
forbid something happens to T.J. Watt, that team is absolutely fried. I feel like.
yeah. And I only said that division just because of like I said, just the consistency it brought over the years. Like at the end of the day, their offense is horrible last year. And like their offense always been horrible. Even when they had Kenny Pickett at quarterback, but they somehow, some way, found a way to be 9-8, 10-7, whatever. And it's just the consistency they brought. Like every team in that division somehow, some way made playoffs over the years, even when it was god awful. The Browns had one of the horrible offense, and somehow, some way they just made in the playoffs. And so I was just saying that because like NFC North. Um, a lot of teams that haven't really been consistently like, getting over the hump and stuff until like last year, I guess you could say. And it's like the Bears haven't done anything since 2018, since that run when they had Khalil Mack and everybody. And so they just now getting back to be, I guess you could say, like a good on paper team. So that's the only reason why I said the AFC North. They just there's just a history of it having they run over the years.
Okay, I respect it. I respect it. What about you, Chris? How you feeling about the NFC North?
I don't know if I would say it's the the toughest, but I think it's gonna probably be the most exciting to watch. It's a division full of young talent. You got Caleb Williams coming in as a rookie. I think everybody's expecting him to have a CJ Stroud year. And I don't think that's his fault. I think just because CJ Stroud happened last year and the way Caleb was looking in the preseason, people have a lot of high expectations for him. You got Jordan Love, who towards the end of the last season, he started playing like he was about to be the next star quarterback in the league. So I think people are looking forward to that. Jared Goff and the Lions, they did something that they haven't done in their organization like ever. So I think it's just an exciting division to watch. When it comes to the Vikings, I think that's the downfall of trying to say it's the toughest because unlike unlike the AFC North, even though the Steelers are having their issues on the offensive side of the ball, we won't count out them going 9-8 or 10-7, like Cam said. Like it's just because that's what they do. That's what Tomlin does. So like you got to take that in consideration. Whereas with the NFC North, is like the Vikings don't look good, bro. Like it don't look like it's gonna go good for them. That sucks because it's not their fault. They've made great decisions. It just hasn't panned out for them. So toughest, I don't know, but fun. It's gonna be fun to watch.
That's fair. That's fair. How about you, Sanders? How you feeling about the NFC North? Because I know you big on Chicago. We'll touch on that later in the pod. I know you big on the Bears.
Yeah, I got it as like the third toughest or best division in the NFL. I still think AFC North obviously is the best division. I feel like then I think AFC East probably comes in second.
Hmm.
Uh, this I mean I think the Lions should win the division, but I don't think it's going to be like easy. Um, like like you said, I'm really high on the Bears. I think that's like a really great core over there. Receiving core is really good. They added some pieces on defensive side. Paid Jalen Johnson. I think he's very underrated. He should have been on the top 100 or whatever. I think he's probably top three corner in the league right now. Got Tyreek Stevenson on the other side. Then got Brisker and Byard back there. So that secondary is good. Then they got Montez Sweat. Um, I think the expectations is fair because I mean this is the most hyped up quarterback we've ever seen since probably Trevor Lawrence, and I think Caleb is more hyped up than him, respectfully. Um, so I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Um, you go look at the other teams in the division, like the Vikings. You know, they they'll be okay, but they won't like. I think they'll still be competitive, but it's just gonna be hard with Sam Darnold on the team,
Hmm.
whatever. Playing quarterback. But like you said, Kevin O'Connell, he's a really great. I feel like he's a really great offensive minded head coach. He gonna dial up some plays, to get Justin Jefferson open, dialed up for Jordan Addison. Can't forget about TJ Ogerson or whatever. Yeah, they lost the Bill Hunter, but they also added some of our guys like Jonathan Grenard. He's a really good pass rusher. I feel like. Also added Blake Cashman. He's one of the better covering linebackers in the league too. Um, so they'll be competitive, and then I think Green Bay is probably I won't even call them the dark horse in the division. I think they're probably the only team that can give Lions a run for their money because I mean, I'm a big believer in Jordan Love. I know he
Mhm.
had, that back end of he was only good that back end of the regular season, but that's really all I needed to see. The things he do is such like Aaron Rodgers, and it's crazy how like these guys, the Packers, they can like develop quarterbacks like with ease. Like this is like 3 straight quarterbacks now. Like, and it's I don't know. It's just crazy. So you just know, like you just gotta know, like he's probably gonna be one of the ones, next quarterback that's up, whatever. And then their receiving core is cool. I feel like it's a lot of guys that it's a lot of studs over there. Like there's not really a true number receiver one. I mean, you got Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, um, the Wicks guy that's right behind Jaden Reed or whatever. So they solid, but yeah, the defensive side they got some problems, whatever. But I think the secondary should be able to hold up, but we'll see.
That's kind of that whole division too. Their all their defensive sides is kind of like
Yeah, it's kind of.
it's going to be high offense.
I think the Lions defense is a little bit better than everyone else's. I know y'all added was Arnold, huh?
Yeah,
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 from
from Alabama.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a
I
stud.
think
Like I think he's gonna be locked
I
down.
think Lions probably got the best front line out of all of them. Like adding, you got
Yeah,
Hutchinson, and you got Reed. I mean, DJ over there now. I feel like they got the best front line out of all the teams. I mean, I'm not even counting their secondary, but their front line definitely the best right now.
Hmm.
Like,
true. They moved Brian Branch back to safety too,
yeah,
and
that's
another
it.
adjustment. So definitely some different looks this year. But
I don't know if y'all care to know, but FanDuel say the Lions over under for wins is 10.5, while Green Bay is 9.5.
yeah, it's right there. I think so. Where y'all say the AFC North and like the reason, I think the Vikings fit that Steeler mold, but reverse. Like we think the Steelers are still going to be decent because they got Mike Tomlin. The defense is going to be ready to play despite the offense struggles. They're going to struggle, but they'll end up 9-8 or 10-7 somehow, some way. Whereas the Vikings, they're coming off a 13-3 year in 2022. Coming to last year, they went 7-10, but they only had a negative 18-point differential, and Kirk Cousins was out since week 8. They were
Mm.
back there with Dobbs. I'm forgetting the other third string quarterback they were using for a bit of time, but they're
Nick
still
something.
uh
Nick
dang, I'm
Mullins.
Nick
Yeah,
Mullins, yeah.
Bowler,
Nick
yeah.
Mullins, they were still, competitive. Justin Jefferson still went over 1K, even though he missed a good portion of the season with the hamstring injury. They did add Aaron Jones, interdivision pickup from the Packers. I think Kevin O'Connell, on the flip side, he's a great offensive mind. And we seen that
Mhm.
last year with how he was able to operate with Nick Mullins and Josh Dobbs and things like that. And then you add Aaron Jones. We know Justin Jefferson, as long as he's healthy, no matter who's guarding him, he's going to get his. He's the best wide receiver, highest paid wide receiver in the league for a reason. And then also on top of that, they had the worst turnover differential. Like, I don't know, like it was some stat, I think, where Kirk Cousins, like between the 20s, the hashes, was like one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year. And then once they got to the red zone, Minnesota went to shit and they just kept
Yeah,
turning over the
yeah.
ball. And that was what kept costing them games. I think you'll see a regression to the mean there for them. And like I said, I think they'll be competitive because Kevin O'Connell will be able to do something with Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold, obviously, with his career so far, he's kind of been a turnover machine, but besides last year with the 49ers where he was a backup, as far as his starting role, this is the most talent he's ever had on the offensive side of the ball because you got Justin Jefferson, you got Addison. I'm assuming Hawkinson will probably be back mid-season, later in the season, coming back from his torn ACL. So I expect them to be competitive. And then I'm like Cam Sanders. I think I seen what I need to see from Jordan Love. Now, was it worth giving him 50 mil? I don't know about that. I feel like you possibly could have tried to talk him into a little bit lower, but the market is the market, I guess, for QBs right now. But they got some dogs at wide receiver, like you said. I think Josh Jacobs was a clutch pickup in free agency. Rashawn Gary anchoring that defensive line. he had a pretty good year until he got banged up. If he can stay healthy, he was, on the path to getting probably around like 15, 16 sacks last year before he got banged up. So I think Matt LaFleur also another great coach. That's really what this division is, in my opinion. It's three great coaches in LaFleur, O'Connell. Uh, I'm I'm just blanking on everybody's names. Detroit, what's your coach, Eric? I'm so sorry.
And
Campbell.
Campbell.
Campbell, bite
I know.
somebody's kneecaps. Like they got three great coaches, and then Matt Eberflus is still up in the air. I don't really think he's that great of a coach, but they do have great defensive talent. We'll see if the offense will be able to throw it together. But that's why I think it'll be one of the more competitive divisions, and I put them number one because I feel like in the NFC, at least three of those teams can truly make noise in the NFC playoffs for real. Because I feel like the NFC is kind of wide open. Because I've been big on saying I think the 49ers are going to face a little bit of Super Bowl hangover. Here we are, August 26th. Brandon Ayuk still, that situation still isn't figured out. I think Brock Purdy going to be trying to do a little too much this year because he's up for a contract and he's going to be trying to play a little outside of his means. So I think Detroit, if they're able to repeat what they did last year, they're in contention to win the NFC. I think Green Bay, I wouldn't even call them a dark horse anymore after we seen what they did last year. Like they whooped Dallas, they were whooping San Francisco till they choked that one away. I think they'll be right there. And then the Bears potentially with the talent on paper. I'm not putting the high expectations on them because again, like I think it is a rookie quarterback and some franchise trauma with quarterback play over there. Just nobody's overthrown for 4,000 yards that they drafted. That's crazy. So I'm not gonna put too much on them, but on paper they have the talent to be competitive in the NFC. So that's where I'm coming from. But on the flip side, or say Minnesota, they'll be competitive. Will they win anything for real? No. And that's where I'm like, Justin Jefferson just got paid. This year is essentially a wash as for being real contenders. Next year, I'm sure McCarthy will step in, but he's gonna miss a whole year. He's gonna be, rehabbing. He'll be missing valuable reps he was probably gonna get this year to, kind of get over some of those rookie troubles. Justin Jefferson probably isn't gonna be playing meaningful winning football for at least probably the next 3 years. So I set up in our, little object list for the podcast. If you had to put an over under of 2.5 years before Justin Jefferson maybe requests a trade out of there, since now he's gotten paid and he wants to probably contend for a championship, would y'all go over or under on that amount? Because these wide receivers they're all divas. It just is what it is. It's the nature of the position. 2 years of after 2022, they go 13-3, make the playoffs, but then they lose to Daniel Jones round one. Last year, Kurt gets hurt. He loved Kurt. They don't sign him back. Kurt goes to Atlanta. This year, McCarthy goes out. I don't know if they would have made the playoffs with McCarthy or with Darnold. That's left to be seen, but they probably won't. Then next year, McCarthy comes in. Maybe he's decent, shows some promise, but you probably still don't make the playoffs because Detroit and Green Bay are only getting better. Chicago will be in year two with Caleb. Now that's 3 years in a row you've no longer made the playoffs when you came from LSU winning the national championship, came in the league competitive at least. Now you just playing, you putting up stats because he's going to get his numbers, but he's not winning. I know that's going to be frustrating for a guy like him. So I'm going to go under 2.5 years. I think after next year, he's going to be asking out. Like, I don't know who will have the cap space to trade for him and what the cap even is at that point in time. But I think Justin Jefferson will be requesting a trade out to try to force his hand to a contender 2 years into his new contract extension. And I'll pass it to whoever wants to take that next.
I'm
I'm
gonna say over. I'm gonna say over, just because your point with you don't know who's gonna take that contract. I think if dude wanted to win, he would have been asked. Like, I understand he loved Kirk, but how many times come on, what do we call Kirk? What do we call Dak? Like, they're twins. They're of the same nature. If he wanted to win, he would have been left. He's getting paid. I think he just likes to get paid. He knows he's the best. What else is there to prove? Some guys, they don't really want to. Some guys don't care to win, bro. They do just want the bag. If winning come with it, that's icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, I'm still paid.
I'm gonna take the over only because like the way how the league set up nowadays. Realistically, if we say next year, I don't know what exact team that can trade for him. Who can
Yeah.
trade for him? So like,
Well, when I say next year, I mean like next year plays out. So this is going into 2026.
Are you saying he requested or a trade actually goes through?
No, he requested like he's like, hey, I'm not happy here.
But
Like
it
I
don't
want
have to happen though.
Yeah, Minnesota
So-
don't. Minnesota probably won't trade him because like that's they franchise guy. But like
Okay.
he'll ask out.
So I'm gonna say like this. Even then, I'm still gonna say the over only because I'm putting the 3 factors. One, I don't like so if he wants to get traded and go to a contender that can afford him, 9 times out of 10, I don't know exactly who that could be because the only team I know who probably can afford him will be like New England, Arizona, because even though they got what's him over there, they still can afford him because they don't have much. Because I mean, the only big deal they got over there is Kyler Murray because they're not even resigning Buda Baker. He probably gonna walk after this year. Them only 2 teams I can really like name. Like now, you think contender wise, I don't know exactly what Super Bowl contender team he can go to that can afford him. He gonna have to like reconstruct his contract, and like in order for that to happen, because he's getting paid like a quarterback basically, and not even half, 3/4 of the league quarterbacks are paid. Like we don't see Trevor Lawrence get the biggest deal, and not even trying to sound like a hater, but he has done anything.
No, remember, bro, just hate, just do it.
Bro, I'm just saying, bro. Like you already know I'm not a fan of the deal. Because him being the Chargers, I've been said like, bro, the Chargers wasn't a good team in regard because of Brandon Staley. So he got paid off that. But I mean, what's have Trevor Lawrence have done? So it's like a lot of these young QBs are getting paid for not really winning anything, and so he's getting paid, for his numbers and everything. But if you want to go to like an actual contender, he's gonna take a pay cut, and the only team that's I guess you could say a Super Bowl contender that he couldn't fit will be like Buffalo that need a receiver. So I mean, we've seen what Keon Coleman doing, preseason. He can't get separation and stuff. So that probably be the only team to go to. But him and Josh Allen together getting paid the same amount is not gonna work. Like
Well,
you
you
both
gotta
can,
also think though, he's gonna 2 years in, he's gonna because all his money guaranteed really.
yeah.
2 years in, that's he already technically got his money, and that's why I think when it's God's first contract, yeah, screw winning. Like if I can reset the market because this day one time to get the bag for real. Because a second contract really isn't common in this league for most. Now for Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson, yeah, I think he'll get a second one, but by that point he'll have 2 years under his belt at what he's getting 35 a year.
40, yeah.
I know taxes take everything, but that's 70 mil. He already got the money.
So-
now it's like winning. Like
So, I
get
mean,
me out of here.
The only team they probably can go to then, if he really have like a really good chance of winning, would probably be Buffalo because I don't know any other team that really he can go to and just all right, bro. I can help dynamic this team that need another receiver because Miami already got their stuff. Like Tyreek gonna probably be there for like another 2-3 years. Jalen Waters got paid, so he's extended for like another 3 years. So they pretty much good right there. And knowing them, they probably gonna draft somebody else, knowing how they operate their team. Nobody else really in that division really gonna do much because New England they set back for like a while now. Like I don't know when next time we're gonna see them back up and popping. And I'd probably say Buffalo, but I'm gonna just take the over though still.
Okay. What about you, Eric? What do you think?
I mean, it's an interesting question. So we're not expecting much from Minnesota this year.
Nope.
So next year, McCarthy comes in. I'm not a high on McCarthy. In my eyes, I think he's going to be struggling. I think he's going to struggle. So hypothetically, let's play it out. Let's say McCarthy does bad. That year, who's going to be the top draft pick? It's going to be Little Manning. Archie Manning's going to be coming out that year. So after 2 years, will the Vikings look to move off O'Connell and have Jefferson like go through another rookie quarterback? Is he going to be willing to do that? I don't know. He doesn't strike me as someone that wants to win. I think he's one of those guys that wants to get paid. And I mean, when you're looking at this contract, I mean, it's a pretty good contract. Why would you want to ruffle the feathers? And the cap hit in 2026 is $39 million. The following year's 43. The year after that is 47. He's going to be 27, 28, 29. I don't know many teams are going to want to pay that much money and have that big of a cap hit for a wide receiver that's that old, as crazy as it sounds. And then what teams could do it? Just off the top of my head, maybe the Chargers. Chargers have nobody.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Jaguars, but I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy either. So I don't know what team is sitting back and saying, hey, if we have Justin Jefferson, this is our missing piece that's going to take us to the next level. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd probably say over.
What about you, Cam Sanders?
Yeah, I'm going over too. It
Yeah.
really has nothing to do with the contract though. Like if you just go back and look like at the history of the NFL, there's really not too many receivers that axe out because they want to go and win. Truthfully, I think most receivers don't really not necessarily care about like winning, but they don't really care about rings because I mean, if you look at the GOAT conversation for receivers, no one really bring up like their rings. It's always like their stats and how many touchdowns they had and how great they were. So yeah, I think that's one thing. But yeah, I see him staying for like at least another 4-5 years in the Vikings before he then snaps out of it and like, okay, I'm getting older. Then let me go try and win now. Yeah, I not right now. I think 2 years is way too early for him to axe out.
And bro, that's crazy, Cam, because like that's true. I never even thought about it. Like, it's literally only quarterbacks ever. Their
Yeah.
legacy is defined by them winning. A receiver like Mike Evans, he can get 1,000 yards every year. He's gonna be one of the greatest receivers. Like nobody cares. But if you Phillip Rivers, because you the quarterback version of a wide receiver's legacy, you just get shot on.
Pretty much, yeah.
Much.
That's why Aaron Rodgers gets shit on. He only got one ring, but he's literally one of the greatest quarterbacks ever.
And then they do the same thing. Like Drew Brees literally had
Injuries.
before what Pat Mahomes did. Drew Brees had put like the 5K yards passing and stuff. I think he's like 3 times. So I think people still get on him because he only had one ring compared to everybody else. I'm like, bro, Drew Brees put up numbers as a quarterback who's undersized. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson,
none
no
of them.
rings.
Larry Fitzgerald,
T.O.
Larry Fitzgerald, no rings. Yeah, I mean
that.
that is. I guess also I don't know because I know Cam didn't watch it yet still, but did any of y'all watch the Receiver show on Netflix?
I watched some
Yeah, I'll
of it.
be at work.
I watched a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that like you see him and Devontae Adams just frustrated. Like Devontae more because he's older and he really is trying to win. But like I said on previous episode, I don't know why you chose to go to Las Vegas if you were truly trying to win. But yeah, they're just competitive drive. The losses that they were accumulating over the season was just adding up, and you could see it in the behind the scenes footage that the show revealed. So that's where I'm like, because I'm not just like it's more than just this 2 years, really. Like it's he came in the league, he did his thing rookie year because that was what the COVID year.
Yeah.
The Vikings still weren't that great. Then they go 13-3, and it's like, oh, like the future is up. Like
Mhm.
we got it. And Kirk Cousins, that's his guy. Then last year, Kirk Cousins gets hurt. Then he pulls his hamstring, and now the season's basically in the toilet halfway through the season. Now it's like, okay, well, at the apex of his prime, because he probably like what 25 now.
Like
Like, yeah,
25.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get the most guaranteed money ever for a non-quarterback because I got that ability right now. But now it's like 2 years from now, so going into the 2026-27 season, will now been 4 years of football where he just like he putting up stats, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like that would just be frustrating, especially when like you've seen some of his peers, like his homeboy Jamar Chase playing with Joe Burrow. Their Super Bowl window is always open. They've already been to Super Bowl together. They've experienced a deep playoff run. You got guys like AJ Brown, who's now gotten paid, and he's winning in Philadelphia. He had a Super Bowl run. They're constantly in the playoffs. CD Lamb just got paid. As long as Dak is there, we don't know if that's just this year or any longer. They're gonna be in the playoffs all the time. Whereas the Vikings, it's like, dang, we're going backwards now. Like it was looking up, but now Detroit Lions are here. They seem to be here to stay. They got a relatively young core that they've paid and secured. Green Bay, youngest team in the league last year. They're on the up and up. Chicago, if Caleb Williams pans out to what we think he could be, we're now potentially talking about the Vikings are just going to be in fourth place every single year for the foreseeable future. Like, money's cool. Like I said, 2 years from now, he will have had a bulk of that contract. And I'm sure the Vikings are going to have to take on a dead cap hit to even get rid of him too a little bit, if that's the case. So now it's like being like, there's a difference between like being competitive and, you know, potentially being in contention, whereas you just a straight up loser year in, year out. That gotta get tiring. Like, money cool, but the competitive spirit in them, like fourth place every year, because we basically saying like we don't think the Vikings are gonna do anything for the next 2-3 years, essentially. So like, yeah, if he putting up 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, cool.
I mean,
Well, you get tired of that.
No, I
when
mean
you
that's
got
what
50,
all these.
when you got 50 million in your bank account, do it matter?
Yeah, I mean, like, let's
Are
say,
you
like,
really losing?
But that's what I'm
all,
saying. Like, at that
all
point, it's like,
the
well, I got the money, so like, dang, can we get competitive? Can we win? Like, it could be what Eric said too. Do they think like if McCarthy just plays really bad next year, is it like, okay, do we potentially look at, you know, drafting an Arch Manning depending on our draft position or something like that? But it's like he's already, because he's voiced his, you know, opinion on like he was a supporter of Kirk Cousins. He wanted them to re-sign him. They didn't do that. Then you get McCarthy. I don't know how much he really liked him, but at least from the mic'd up footage from preseason, he is a big supporter of
Yeah, they seem
McCarthy.
cool.
Thought
Yeah.
he was good. He's not panning out. It's like, I feel like my time has run its course in Minnesota. Because also, I'm not gonna lie, who just wanted to live in Minnesota that whole time?
I was thinking about that. Like, where is he from? Where is he from?
different
He's from
Louisiana.
He from
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
But I'm
So
sure,
that can't be comfortable. It
but
has to be
no,
because the money, bro.
someone who's I don't know if it's like Chad Johnson.
Minnesota just isn't a big market either. That's
I,
kind of how we saw KG and Randy Moss get up out of there because they got tired, you know, of
I
not
don't
winning.
know if it was Chad Johnson or somebody else, but I'm sure they was like pretty much said no, it was Cam Newton. He said he's pretty sure he got this big contract. He's not buying a big house in Minnesota. No. He's gonna go to Miami or he's gonna go to LA, get a big house over there, and that'd be the summer house while he, stay in Minnesota. But still, I mean, like, bro, like these receivers don't be like they really don't be caring about winning. Like we got guys
I
like
can
I don't
see,
think they care about winning at all.
I can see
Kelvin
Justin
never
Jefferson
lived.
saying, "I want out" if his stats take a huge hit these next 2
Yeah, I
years.
could see
Yep.
that.
The quarterback play more than I see him saying, "I want out" because
That's
of winning.
Because of
That's
winning.
the
Yeah.
that was my next point too, because I was like, yes, he's Justin Jefferson. He seems to be able to just get his stats with whoever. But I'm also like, this year he's about to have to play with Sam Darnold. Now, Kevin O'Connell could probably mask some of those issues we've seen with Darnold over his tenure in the league, but I don't know how good Sam Darnold is going to be, and that could be frustrating. And then next year, like Eric said, if McCarthy is now, that's where I'm like, well, dang, then it really gets interesting because if you playing with bad QBs too, that's really gonna piss him off. Because he's open, but like if you don't got a QB that can get you the ball, that's gonna be even more frustration. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
all
It
right.
becomes an interesting question for him because it's like, yeah, he got paid.
Yeah.
And another thing is Cousins has a history of just locking onto one receiver. Even with his days back with the Redskins, he would always lock on Pierre Garçon. When we look at it, he would always just lock on Justin Jefferson. If Darnold or McCarthy scan the field a little bit more, he could be upset with the targets. I see that happening.
Ooh, Diva.
It's the wide receiver one trait. Hey, I don't know.
So that's a great
Selfishly,
point.
y'all already know where I want him to be.
Think about it. No,
He going to the
that's
Chargers.
Travis Kelce retires.
that's actually a great point because you think about it, a lot of number one like target receivers were getting pissed. You got your Stephon Diggs was getting pissed and with Josh Allen, AJ was getting pissed with Jalen Hurts. That's true. That's a true fact.
I'm saying there's just so much that goes into keeping your
Yeah.
wide receiver one happy. 2 years of losing with Sam Darnold and McCarthy might be the ticker to break the scale for him. Because he will have already got his money. And then on top of that, it is Minnesota. Like,
I wonder how much convincing it takes in them like Neatons to keep him there. Like, I wonder what they're telling him and what's keeping him there.
I think the only wide receiver one I never like seen get mad at targets, and his quarterback can't really throw deep was Tyreek, and that because he already won already. He got paid, so he didn't care. He just there just for vibes and to have kids. He don't
Yeah,
care.
he need the money for child support.
Oh my gosh.
He's the
Oh my god.
he's the only receiver. Now think about it, only wide receiver one that never get mad at targets. To be
His
honest,
game checks
Now think
going
about it.
straight to
He
his
he get a
baby
lot of
mom.
targets. He get
What
the
I'm
most.
saying, no, what I'm saying is like even if he like said like say one, it was games where Jalen Water go off too. But I'm saying is he probably the only receiver I know who never get mad regardless. Like you see other receivers get mad, they want their targets. He probably the only one. Like even when like watching receiver show, I've seen seen Devontae get pissed. You'll see Jefferson want like get pissed. I never seen Tyreek ever get mad. Just
I
in
bet
general.
Devontae and Justin Jefferson would love to play with Tua.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Devontae
absolutely.
for sure.
Especially Devontae, bro.
Really
Good
wants to
hell.
get out of Vegas. He just
Devontae
can't say it.
Devontae has Gardner Minshew and Aiden McConnell as his QBs, and I'll be pissed too if I was over there. Like
Facts.
I'll be extremely mad. Like you're like I don't even know like who's another receiver besides like you say Jacoby, but they let go Hunter Renfrow. I don't even know who that wide receiver 3 is over there. I know they tight end. I think who they drafted tight end. It was it Brock.
Brock Bowers. They're
Broward.
Yeah,
probably gonna be
okay.
running a lot of 12 personnel.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know their true wide receiver 3 over there, so I don't know. I'll be pissed too.
Well, moving on to Green Bay, I'm gonna let Cam Sanders answer this first because he's probably the biggest believer out of all of us. With their offseason moves and then how they ended last year, what result, I guess, like makes in your mind, what result makes Jordan Love's contract worth it this year? Like, what do the Packers have to do for you to be like, okay, that was the right move to give him 50 mil guaranteed after him seeing him play about 8 solid games 4 years into his career?
Go win an NFC chip.
So go
Got
to the
to.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I almost confused already.
I mean, that's not crazy to say. I mean,
Brother.
he took you pretty far last year. Like I said, I think he's gonna show why he's top 5 this year.
Bro, you saying that for every
Hold
QB,
on,
bro.
hold on. Rephrase the question.
I don't
That
say
sounds like your aspirations. What are his realistic
I'm
goals
saying what
for the
like if
media to
like if
say
they
he had a
make
good?
the NFC Championship, where you say now it's worth it, but like because they made the divisional last year, so you obviously will want improvement. That's an improvement, but you're saying they gotta go straight from divisional to Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, they're a contender. I don't know why we're laughing. They're
No.
they're a
I
Super Bowl
believe they're a
contender.
contender too. I'm
So,
I think
like,
the contender. I just think there's some nuance. I think there's some nuance you got to talk about. I think a successful year for them would be them they're starting the season where they left off last season. First of all, it doesn't need to be one half of the season is mediocre and the other half is great. I don't want to see a team that's just on a hot streak. I want to see a team that's consistently good. And I think if they're consistently good throughout the season while making the divisional, I think that's respectable because he's still a growing quarterback, and we know the Lions, they're going to be a tough team to beat in the NFC. I don't know how the seeding's going to be. Nonetheless, like the NFC is still tough in other areas. So
what is
I
he
don't I don't
getting?
think it's not gonna not be worth it if he don't make it to the Super Bowl. Like
He's getting
that's
50. He's getting like what 50 million, 60 million.
I think 50,
Come on,
45,
man.
50.
I don't think that payment is for
Okay, hold on.
this
I
year.
got
I
a
think
question
that payment
for.
is
I
for
got a question
growth.
for because I don't know if you heard our AFC East podcast, Eric. We asked the same question with Tua, and Cam said the expectation remind me just win a playoff game. That's it. Tua is also getting paid, and he arguably has way more talent than what Jordan Love is working with. So Tua got to just win a playoff game, but Jordan Love got to go all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's two completely different situations. I mean, you see what's over there in the AFC. That's a gauntlet over there compared to the NFC. Green Bay is one of the better teams in the NFC. I feel like, and it's an easier path than what Miami has to go through.
I
So
don't,
for sure,
I don't. The reason why I'm not gonna agree to that one, bro, is because like we said on the AFC stuff, this should be there. Okay, so like the stuff they did in the offseason, Like the addition they had, I feel like Miami had one of the most underrated like additions to their team overall. I know everybody focused on Xavier Howard and everybody else leaving, but they added some key pieces. I feel like with the hits that New England, Buffalo, especially Buffalo, losing half their roster because of cap space, seeing what they're doing, I feel like they have no excuses but to win the division. And on top of that, Tua gonna have to learn how to play in the cold. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like with the roster they have, like the talent, like they have one of the best, I guess you could say top 6, top 5 wide receiver threes with Tyreek, Waddle, and Odell every now and then. So they had no choice but to do something. I feel like they're like Bryce said, their talent on paper is literally better than the Packers. Yeah, I feel like Jordan Love is a better, I guess you could say QB, like he could throw better than Tua, but Tua has a better talent than him, so Tua should go further, in my opinion.
I just think
Like
he's
if
Not
Love, if
just
you
that,
put
but
it's the
Jordan Love just now getting into it, bro.
if you
Tua
yeah,
has been in
if you put like
conversations
Tua
for
been there
years.
long,
Like it's
if you put so my thing is okay. So my thing was that is another reason why I said that it's kind of like not say biased but whatever is because Tua haven't won a playoff game. Jordan Love won one. Tua haven't won anything. So I feel like Tua should go further because he been in the league longer.
huh? That's
I,
backwards.
no, I think you
If you
bring up
want,
aspirations and expectations
Because my thing
mixed
is
up.
Jordan Love won one, and like I get that, cool, man. He's young. Tua been there longest. So don't we expect him to do more since he's been in the league longer, and he getting paid more than Jordan Love?
Jordan Love he's been sitting behind one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He picked up so much from him.
But
He's
Tua has
already
the best talent. Like if you put Jordan Love with the Dolphins, that like because he can play in the cold. Tua can't, but everybody would want to have what Tua has. Tua has literally
for sure.
one of the best wide
The
receivers
best
1 and
player in the
2s.
NFL.
Literally, like,
Definitely,
I would if I was a QB, bro, I would go. I would want to go further.
I just feel
yeah.
like you gotta give Jordan Love some grace, Cam. He don't gotta make it to the Super Bowl this year for
I
that
would say
contract to be
NFC
worth it.
Championship. I was gonna say NFC
I was
Championship.
gonna
I'm just saying, bro. Miami, yes, they're good, but it's still a gaunt. Like if you put the Packers on the AFC side, I would probably be saying the same thing. But they're on the NFC side. Like I'm saying, it's a much easier path. Like I don't see why that's not crazy to
I feel
It's
say.
you
not
on the
it's not
easier
crazy.
path.
It just seemed like you're not giving him no grace. That's all.
I
Well,
was saying,
like I said, I seen everything I wanted to see out of him.
But
What?
all I'm saying is in the AFC, the only, in my opinion, in the AFC, the only teams I probably say you have to look out for as far as like Miami will be obviously the Chiefs, and then I'll put Baltimore, and then I'll put the Texans. I wouldn't say pretty much more everybody else because they always choke when it matters most. Like I'm not gonna believe Deshaun Watson. I'm not gonna believe the Pittsburgh. They don't know what they're doing over there, and everyone else they still developing. Them only teams I would say. But in the NFC, obviously,
You
you
still
got
got the Bengals,
bro. You already know how I feel about it.
Jets. You still got the Bills. That's a
I,
gauntlet, bro. Like
I'm not.
but you can't just
That's what I'm
overlook them
saying.
though.
And that's what I'm saying. That division. That's why I said in that division they should definitely go further because Buffalo took a huge hit. A huge hit. So in
They still
Miami
got Josh
improved.
Allen.
I
Well,
don't care.
let's say this: if the Dolphins and Packers were to change, would you have the same expectations for Jordan Love?
No, that would completely change
would
because
you?
NFC is
But
a
would you?
gauntlet.
But then when you say Miami has to go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah. Would you say
If
Miami
on the,
as
and
the
then
if they
then
had if they had Jordan Love.
no,
no,
no, if they were in the
he's in the
NFC?
NFC North.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
because
I got you.
they'll be probably like the second best team in the NFC.
See, but then that's when I would say, yeah, they have to go to Super Bowl because that talent on Miami, they have so much more experience than this talent in Green Bay. That's when it's like, okay, you need to go to the Super Bowl. Like, it's no excuse. Whereas for the Packers, where they are now, bro, like they're kind of in that same boat. And I know it don't make sense when I'm bringing up basketball, but they like, okay, see, with last year, right? They barely made it to the playoffs. They won a playing game, or I don't know if they won. I can't
I'm
remember.
expecting y'all
But
to
then
go to
they,
the finals.
huh?
I'm expecting
Yeah,
y'all to go
well,
to
you
the
seen
finals.
my bet. You seen my bet. But look, but nonetheless, to that point, that bet that I just made this year, that's placed 2 years after. Like it's after I've watched us develop into the team that okay, now it's time to go. You're not giving Jordan Love that year grace of like, okay, let's see if he could really do it again. If it leads there, that's cool, but it don't got to be expected. You can't say that contract's not worth it just because you put
And to add
that
on to
type of
that,
expectations on him.
if you look at the Packers roster, outside, I guess you could say Gary. Nobody on that team really has like deep playoff experience. Like nobody, even people they added. Versus Miami, you got 2 Super Bowl winners on that team, and everybody else who don't won Super Bowl. I mean, won playoff games before. Tyree don't won Super Bowl before. Odell don't won one before.
Shoot,
They,
Jalen Ramsey too.
and Jalen, that's 3 compared to 0. That's the only reason I said that.
I think it's time for these young quarterbacks to
I
show
want,
it.
like, I'm all
And I
for it.
think
He's
and I
moving
think they
on.
will.
That's
No,
what's
like,
going on.
I'm all for it. Like,
He's
remember, I
perfect.
bet that's what I bet. Like, I'm all for it because I even said like, why is Aaron Rodgers on top 100 and he only played 2 snaps?
Yeah, that's
So I'm
true.
all for the young quarterbacks taking over. What I'm saying is, I'm only just giving him grace because, like Peyton Manning said, Peyton Manning went till he was 20. Like, I think he went till he was 27. So you got to give him some time a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
I think
Right.
it's a happy medium where it's like, yes, the NFC is obviously weaker, but for me, like you said, partially what Chris said, you want to see Green Bay like how they finished last year. You want to see them continue that throughout this year and be consistent with it. So it's looking like at least Vegas odds and the talk of the league, Detroit is supposed to win that division back to back. Okay, Jordan Love, you now one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Y'all the up and coming, dark horse team. Go win the NFC North. So it's not a repeat for the Detroit Lions. Go win the NFC North, get a home playoff game. Make the divisional. Maybe you're hosting if you're first or second, you'll be hosting another home playoff game. Then if they're hosting a home playoff game in divisional, yeah, you need to win that game, especially given how last year's divisional went on the road at San Francisco. But once they make the NFC Championship, I feel like that's all icing on the cake, house money. Like if they win it, props to them. If they don't, you've seen what like you've now you got a taste of what it could be last year. This year they do that with the division title on top. It's like, okay,
The
now
next year,
next year, Super Bowl.
No,
yeah, no ifs, ands, or
How
buts.
you
And,
go
and they're
back
going and they're gonna
It's-
invest more talent into their team, knowing like, okay, this is what we really got. Let's go get it for real.
I see what y'all saying. I just disagree.
Yeah, because you high on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
But like no, but like what I seen them do to the 49ers last year in that playoffs game, and they had them on the ropes, bro. It's all a matter of time. And like Bryce,
Right.
you literally been saying like the 49ers that fall is coming pretty soon. Why can't it happen this year? Like why can't
Oh, it
Green
can,
Bay
but Detroit
surpass
also
them?
had them on the ropes.
Also had 49ers?
49ers.
Yeah.
They both should have beat them.
Yeah, for sure. I personally think Green Bay has the better quarterback.
That Super Bowl hangover finna hit 49ers like crack for real. Like it's finna hit them heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I
gonna
think
hit
it's
them
important when we look.
like it's gonna be mean. They got that, and then Brock Purdy looked horrible in preseason. He throwing to third stringers, and then you got Brandon Ayuk situation. And
It's
then
not
Trent
even
Williams.
IU. It's Trent Williams, really. There.
And Trent Williams away now. I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna pay you that much money at 36 years old, bro. I'm sorry, I'm not doing this,
He's crazy. He gonna have to
bro.
retire.
He's out
I
of his
mean, you
mind,
say he
bro.
crazy. They start off the season rough. They don't win without
But
Trent Williams.
I get, but I'm not, bro. I'm
He
not
gonna have
gonna pay
to
that much.
he gonna have to
bro.
retire. There's no way, like, bro. You're
Trent Williams like one, obviously like
he's
arguably one of
35. That's
the best. I'm not paying you that, bro. You're 36,
You're 36,
bro.
like, no.
I'm not paying you that much, bro. I'm sorry, bro.
Like you want me to up the pay, and you probably only gonna be here for another 2 years. There's no way,
bro. Like I'm not paying that much, bro, for obvious reasons. Because one, he's older. Two, he still got the health issues going on off the field with the tumor and everything. And three, bro, you finna lose arguably one of the best young receivers in Brandon and stuff. And that's how I become a distraction because now Debo's like, bro, yeah, it was so bad with them over the offseason this whole summer because at one point they were trying to send Debo to Baltimore before they picked up Derrick Henry. It's been so bad over there, bro. Like I don't get it. And I don't know. McCaffrey was away from the team because it was been distracting, and then Brandon, are you getting pissed because McCaffrey got his money and he like, why I didn't get paid? He's older than me. I don't know, bro.
I'm dead. What were you about to say in relation to Jordan Love, Eric?
I just think it's important to remember when we look at how Green Bay ended the season. Week 14, they lost to the Giants. Week 15, they lost by 14 at home to Tampa Bay. At that point, LaFleur was like, I need to give the ball to my best player. And the best player wasn't Jordan Love. It was Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones averaged 21 carries, $119 the last 3 games. And then
killed
even
South
when
Park.
we look at the playoff games, he ran for over 100 yards. They were leaning heavily on Aaron Jones. Now you bring in Josh Jacobs, and we talk about people that want to get paid. Josh Jacobs has shown us he balls out in years where he needs to ball out to get paid. Even last year, he was doing so bad in Las Vegas. They told him, hey, sit out the last 4 games. And Zamir White came in, and Zamir White was running for over 95 yards a game. I think they're worse in the backfield with Josh Jacobs. I'd rather have Aaron Jones. I'm not the biggest Jordan Love guy. He throws way too much off his back foot for me. And I think their defense, losing their defensive coordinator and changing schemes, I think are going to take a step back and everything. And I'm a big, you got to have the scheme fit the running back. They like to run a zone running scheme, and Jacobs is more of a power gap running back. I think that's trying to fit what's the saying, a round hole in a square knob or whatever it's called. I just don't think those two things work together. I think Green Bay is going to struggle a lot this year.
Who's Green Bay's second running back? Who's the second one?
AJ Dillon, and they drafted Lloyd from USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
AJ and Aaron, they killed us.
Nah, Aaron really. That was nasty, bro.
They killed us.
Aaron only
He
he got salty because y'all ain't drafted him. That's why.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
It was personal. It was just personal. That's the only reason why he did it. Other than that, bro, he was just salty that y'all ain't drafted him because he's from El Paso. That's it.
I mean, listen to Jones to close the season. 21 and 127, 20 and 120, 22 and 111 in the playoffs against Dallas, 21 a $118 against the 49ers, 18 for 108. We look at Jordan Love. Jordan Love in that game against the 49ers, which they should have won, he only had a $194 passing the ball.
Yeah, he started off slow, didn't he?
Yeah. And even against the Cowboys, he only threw for 272. To close the season, he had one game where he threw over 300, and that was against the Bears with that defense. I don't know. To me, and maybe this is just kind of my hot take, they remind me a lot of the Giants from a team that I don't want to use the term limp, but kind of snuck into the playoffs, high expectations coming in the next year, and then they underachieved greatly. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if the Packers don't even make the playoffs this year.
Cam, fight back.
I mean, we'll see, man. I don't know. We'll see.
That's
all. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, no. I don't think it will happen. I think LaFleur is a good coach, so I think they'll still be competitive. But yeah, no, I like I said, it's like a happy medium for me. It's not Super Bowl or bust, but be competitive, possibly win the division because the Lions look primed to win it again. But as a Lions fan, Eric, last year obviously first time making the NFC Championship in 30 years basically to the date. 1993 was the last time you won a division, and it was the NFC Central at the time. You were literally a few plays away from making the Super Bowl. The one where it bounced off the corner's helmet, Ayuk catches it for a touchdown, Campbell going for it a couple times where he maybe could have possibly kicked the field goal and secured the lead. Do you think y'all this offseason y'all had a spending spree? Y'all paid all y'all's top players. Jamison Williams, can he finally do what people have thought he could do since he was drafted? Of course, he had the injury first year. Last year, he comes in off a suspension. Now he's got a full offseason, should be good to go. Jahmyr Gibbs, year 2, even though I know he's a little banged up coming into the season. But you think y'all can genuinely build on last year's success? Or was last year kind of like a fever dream? As a longtime Detroit fan, let us know, because I know it's been rough. And last year obviously was almost heaven-like. And then this year, do you think y'all come back down a little bit, or is the future now? Y'all got it.
I mean, definitely the future's now. If they don't win it, this year or next year, I think their window is closed. But my biggest worry is when I kind of sit back and look at this. I think Laporta, his production is obviously going to dip when you kind of look at it. He only had yards and touchdowns in 3 games last year. Everything came in.
That's what I was saying. Thank you for telling them that.
I'm a little worried about is that second go-to guy going to be? Because the way that they run the offense is everything's just kind of filtered in the middle. So if it's not Laporta, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Peoples-Jones that they traded for last year from the Browns? Williams doesn't really have the route tree. He's more of a field stretcher. Worried about the defense. Teams are just double teaming Hutchinson. They need that second pass rusher. Davenport has 3 sacks the last 2 years. So they need him to get back to his Saints days. I think Reeder, I think that's a huge get. He's going to help against the run. They were bleeding production to the run. But the thing that's just killing them is Mosley. Mosley, second year in a row, had a season-ending injury. So he's out. So already they're down one guy in the back four. And Gardner Jones is good. They're losing Gardner Jones, and they really didn't do anything at the safety position to band-aid that problem. That's why they're moving Branch in. I mean, they brought in Davis from Tampa Bay. You know, he's been hit or miss. I don't know. And another thing that I'm worried about is Dan Campbell just the guy that can get you to X? You know what I mean? Is he not the coach that can take you all the way? Is getting to the NFC Championship game, is that his ceiling? Because he strikes me as if he goes for it, it doesn't work. In that next situation, he's going to go for it again. I use the term on my show called the angry gambler. You lose a bet the very next time in that situation, you're going to go for that bet again.
Seamus.
Wow.
I just kind of think that, you know, they should have won that game. They're up 24-7. There should have been a coach firing. Have it be a DC, Aaron Glenn, because there's no way in that game we should blow that lead.
So do you feel like Dan Campbell is like a Mark Jackson of the NBA? Like he only have like a certain ceiling with a team, and then like another coach will come in and they just elevate the players or something like that, take them to like finals or whatever, like Super Bowl?
Exactly. I think he can only take you to X. I think there has to be another guy that comes in to get them over the hump.
Do you think it's that? So you think it's that, or I'm gonna pose a different situation. Do you think it's an Andy Reid deal? Andy Reid could always get you to here. He didn't have the quarterback to take him over the hump.
That's what I'm about to say.
He got the quarterback. Now everybody's like, Andy Reid's the best coach ever. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not mad at it as a Chiefs fan, but I vividly remember after we lost that 2018 playoff game, Alex Smith last year, everybody was calling for his head to be fired because you'd seen him go, was it 1-4 in NFC titles with Philly? They got tired of it.
Philly fans,
then we were 1-5 in just playoff games straight up with one of the worst chokes ever. That 2012 year versus Andrew Luck and the Colts, blowing a 38-14 lead. And then you get Patrick Mahomes, and it's like he erases all of the deficiencies that he did have with the play clock management, running the football at the right times. And now it's like, oh, Andy Reid is the best coach ever.
And it made me so mad, bro. Before you get into it, it made me so mad as a Philly fan, bro, because like the one thing I learned about Andy Reid is like both teams he coached between Kansas City and Philly, neither team had a good defense. Like that defense y'all had last year, probably the first time that Andy Reid ever had like a solid defense. So with us, like we put up all these points, but we could not stop the ball for nothing. I'm over here frustrated as a middle schooler, like, bro, what are we doing? Like you tell me we can't win with LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson, and Mike Vick, bro. I was so pissed every year, bro. Then we got Chip Kelly and everything just went downhill.
So, what about with that question? You think it's still Campbell's just got a ceiling, or you think because I know Jared Goff is like just a top level game manager essentially,
basically. And if they lose Johnson, which I'm shocked they didn't, I think that Jared Goff, I think Johnson's the one that's kind of elevating Goff to this new level. But if you get the quarterback, like if they had Mahomes, if they had Burrow, I mean, they would be winning, obviously, Super Bowl. In a better position to win Super Bowls than they are now.
Every defensive head coach always have like that good offensive coordinator, and then once they leave, it's wraps. We don't see it with Tampa Bay. We seen it with Philly at one point. Every defensive-minded head coach always got a good offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
that's fair. Okay, well, last topic for this episode. I feel like 4 of us are on one side of this, and there's one guy who, again, is on his own over here.
What?
Chicago and Caleb Williams, man. Obviously, they had a great offseason in terms of adding talent to that roster. They chose to move off Justin Fields, go young, get the, supposed to be primetime player, next best thing, Caleb Williams, former Heisman winner. You draft Roma Dunze at 9, so now you got him. You still got DJ Moore, who you paid. You get Keenan Allen from the Chargers. You got I'm blanking on the running back's name, but they got a solid running
You
back.
got you got
DeAndre
Colton
Swift.
Beck.
Defense, Montez Sweat, trade from Washington last year. You got Jalen Johnson. You signed Byard. They got talent everywhere, all over on paper. But as we know, in this NFL league, it is a league of parity. On paper is one thing. On the field is another thing. And for a franchise that has been in quarterback purgatory basically their whole time of being a franchise, and they're one of the original NFL franchises. They've never had a quarterback they drafted throw for over 4,000 yards. Can we please temper some expectations for Caleb Williams in this team, especially with the division we're in that we just talked about, where you just said Green Bay should make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We still think Detroit is really good. So why does Chicago have to make the playoffs in Caleb Williams' first year? We can't just be like, they're competitive. They win some games. They maybe go 7-10. Caleb Williams throws for 4,000 yards. Throws for over like 25 touchdowns maybe. They just show promise heading into his second year. Why is it that people are jumping the gun? And now some people, and I love Nick Wright, but he's, one of the main people pushing it, that Chicago is going to all of a sudden be in the NFC Championship or they're headed to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying you're saying that, Ken, but I know you said they should make the playoffs.
I think they think they're doing it because of what CJ did last year. Like everybody's so high off. Like it's not CJ's fault. He's a great quarterback who came into a great system. I think because of like what he did with the Texans, turning them around from the whole Deshaun Watson situation to now making the playoffs. Being one of the young teams to beat Cleveland and then go up against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I think just what CJ Stroud did with the Texans turning the whole franchise around. I think they're trying to have that expectation for a lot of incoming QBs, especially Caleb Williams, who a lot of people compare him to younger Mahomes and
That's
stuff like
just
that.
setting him up for failure. He's not going to be Mahomes.
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
I think it's just
I'm
like
saying it for his sake. Like that's so
like,
that's like putting how they put LeBron. He's the chosen one. Now LeBron obviously lived up to that, but how many other people have gotten that type of like expectations and completely failed and been a bust?
Yeah, so we don't know though. He can turn out to be like a Wemby. Like he can be like a generational player. Like we don't know.
So
we got the generational player right now, Mahomes. He's
okay, but we
talking about the next generation.
We don't know that. He can be the next.
We don't know that.
We don't. Like, he could be Wemby. Wemby is the
give
next
him this
guy
year to
now.
find out. He just need a year.
But so basically, at the end of the day, I think it's because of what CJ did, and I think also it's just a media thing. Like the one thing, like me went to school for media. I think they always fishing for what's next. They don't want to have the same topic every year. They want to have like something new. Like it's definitely true because it's summertime. No. What I'm saying is like it's summertime. Why are they posting about Brian eating tacos and stuff like that? And we talking about other stuff. So it's like they trying to find something just to talk about. And so they're trying to like make a comparison with that. And like I said, I feel like it's because of what CJ did his rookie year. Like breaking them records, going like X amount of games without throwing an interception, passing yards, passing touchdowns. I think they just trying to like find like the next player. Okay, what CJ did, let's see if we can find like another QB at first round overall pick and Caleb Williams to like go over that hump. And I think also they going it too because no rookie quarterback has been this spoiled. Like to have, you have two wide receivers who literally wide receiver ones, and then you got like a rookie who went off to Washington. You got like literally a top 10 back in DeAndre Swift. You got like a good front line secondary. You got arguably a top 3 cornerback now in Jalen Johnson. No, they of course they're gonna have like a lot of high expectations. I don't agree with it because I want him to, like I said with Jordan Love, I want him to like grow into it. But then I can't even remember. As me being alive for 25 years, I'd never seen a rookie quarterback have this much, like talent coming into their rookie year.
So I'm gonna go quick. Failure for Caleb Williams this year. I really want to see Chicago win more than 7 games. Their over under right now is 8.5. I think they can get 8 or 9. I think that's respectable. His TD to interception ratio, it cannot be hand in hand. Like you cannot have 3 more touchdowns and interceptions, which I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to have a respectable ratio there. 20 plus touchdowns is good. I don't really care if he gets 4,000 yards his rookie year. I just think any team organizational improvement with him as the QB is okay for a rookie. And these are the same expectations I had for CJ Stroud last year. He just did everything beyond that, and that's perfectly fine. But even to Eric's point, and this will be my last point, if Green Bay does end up being a dumpster fire, Chicago could go like 10-7, and they could make it a competitor for Detroit. So, but realistically, I think 9-8, 10-7, 20 plus touchdowns, less than 10 interceptions. You don't got to get 4,000 yards. That's a great season for a rookie QB.
I think you got to get 4,000 yards just to not
That's
even
crazy.
not even like putting pressure on him, but just to give Chicago fans like
some
a deep,
grace. No,
deep
I'm not saying
relief, like,
you can
hey,
get
we
like
finally
38,
did it.
3,700. Like I think that's okay because you're gonna get more next year. Like I think that's fine.
I think if he don't though, then the panic will set in. Like, oh my god, are we never gonna get this? Because they got the talent, and it's a throwing league now. He can get 4,000 yards easy.
But I don't think he needs to get it if he don't throw like stupid amount of interceptions. Like if his TD to interception ratio is good, then it's like, okay, we can start opening up the playbook more for him to start throwing that mug down the field and things of that nature. But,
so, I mean, the first question I want to ask you guys is, hypothetically, Mahomes doesn't get paired up with Reed. Is Mahomes?
Probably not.
Now, second question. Everyone's looking at CJ Stroud, comparing Williams to Stroud. Yeah. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't get hurt in week 18, Texans aren't winning that game. Texans made their run when Taylor got out of that game when he got banged up. Are we looking at CJ Stroud the same way if they don't make the playoffs and lose that game to the Colts?
That's a good one too.
See, I wasn't.
Because, I mean, the Colts were handling that game. Texans could not stop the run at all. Taylor got hurt, and then they relied on Minshew, and the offense can't do anything, and Stroud let them down to the win. I think a lot of it just kind of depends on the circumstances. Like, I live in the Chicago land area. I live in the northern burbs. I mean, people have so unrealistic expectations with what they expect from this team. They're saying Super Bowl. They're saying NFC Championship game. This team, in my eyes, still has a lot of holes. Your head coach is Matt Eberflus. Let's rewind a couple, 3 or 4 years ago when he was the DC for the Colts, and the Colts needed to make the playoffs, and they went down to Jacksonville, and the Jacksonville Jaguars shredded that defense. I don't trust him to come up with a game plan. They don't have a second pass rusher, so that means Sweats is going to be double-teamed a lot. I'm also from the belief if you change places of work a lot, there's got to be some sort of issue. DeAndre Swift has been in the league for 4 years, and this is his third team. I mean, that kind of says a lot. And the Eagles elected to go with an older Saquon Barkley who has a history of injuries than a younger DeAndre Swift and pay him. That kind of tells me there's something there with Swift. I'm forgetting Deuce Staley, who was the running back coach for the Lions, was on Swift all the time, saying his work ethic, saying he should have been better, not living up to his potential. So I think there's something there with Swift. Also, and everyone's talking about this great wide receiving core. We need to look at this offensive coordinator that they brought in. He has a history of only doing 2 wide receiver sets. So is he going to change his whole philosophy and now do a lot more 3 wide receiver sets? Or is he going to stay with what he's done in his coaching career and do 2 wide receiver sets? I think there's a lot of questions, and plus he's a rookie. Like, what is going to happen at the 15-second mark when the OC is done barking in his ear? Is he going to be able to process everything that all these DCs are going to be throwing at him? Plus, Soldier Field's right in the lake. That win there is a bitch. I don't know. I mean, I think, you guys hit the nail on the head. If they get 8 wins, I think it's a success. they make the playoffs, I think the Bears should act like they won the Super Bowl just because of, rookie quarterback and the roster having a lot more holes than people are realizing.
Also, I don't know if y'all seen too. I've seen a few reports and rumors. Apparently, Keenan Allen has gained like 20 pounds this offseason, they said. Like
Oh, my word.
he looks a little bigger. So I'm like, dang, like, is it gonna be the same Keenan Allen we're getting?
He's got to get that extra layer of fat for the Chicago winter, man.
But that's what I'm saying. I agree. Like I think Caleb Williams is gonna be a good quarterback in this league, possibly a really great quarterback in this league. But it's like, let him figure it out first. Like let's not be like, oh my God, with this talent, they gotta make the playoffs. Because like Eric said, this organization has just been a dumpster fire for a good portion of our lives. And it's like, yeah, he might be the person to fix all that, but it's like, don't pin that on him in his first year where he's now got to adjust to the NFL game. And he doesn't have what I'm in agreement. I don't think Matt Eberflus is a good coach at all. Like, I think Chicago should have moved off of him. But they, just like 2 years ago, they start off bad. The defense looks a little better. And they're like, oh, well, we'll bring him back for another year because we saw promise. Like, no, that you should have got rid of him. If you were going to go get Caleb Williams, you should have went and got an offensive-minded head coach to aid him, for the future, because we've seen that is the trend in the league now. But you want to stay with Matt Eberflus. Like I said, you haven't had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards. If Caleb Williams goes out, throws for 4,100 yards, 26 or so touchdowns, 8 interceptions, the Bears go 8-9, 7-10, that's a really good year for Chicago compared to what they've had in recent history. And it shows promise, like, okay, now let's cover up some of these holes that we got since we got the rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, and we know that he can be the guy. But to hit the gates running, playoffs in that division, I just feel like it's so unfair to him, and it's so unfair, like I said, to people are like, he's old because he runs around in the pocket, can make throws off platform. He's got to be Mahomes, dog. We just seen Mahomes pull off a back-to-back, which hasn't been done in 20 years, which is once in every generation. Caleb Williams can be a great quarterback. He's not going to be a generational QB with everything else going on in the league, I feel like. That's where it's like, that's just unrealistic. Because you don't get that many generational QBs for real in this league, especially at one certain time. And I feel like we got Mahomes right now. Josh Allen, talent-wise, his ceiling could be generational if he ever puts it together. You got Burrow, who seems to be, whenever he's healthy, they win. Lamar Jackson got 2 MVPs. Caleb Williams is not going to come into the fold, and he's also going to be generational with all this going on. He can be good. He can be great. They can win one day. But as of right now, pump the brakes, please. Like, let him learn how to fail and bounce back in this league.
And that's not saying he's gonna fail. It's just giving him the
grace
opportunity
to fail.
and grace to fail.
Well, Bryce just said he won't be a generational quarterback. So
no, it's not.
I'm definitely clipping that. No, I'm definitely clipping that.
Clip
He's saying
I'm definitely clipping that because if he turns out to be a generational quarterback, you gotta have to apologize for that.
No, but so look, I
apologize
like
that.
Clarify for the both of y'all. What
is generational for you?
Are you saying the next year or like in like 6 or 7 years?
I'm talking about a generational quarterback is someone who comes in into a franchise that's been in poverty for so long, come in and turn that franchise into
a winner. It got to be a winner.
Yes,
but how much time does he get to do that?
A very great. I mean, usually generational quarterbacks do it in about a year or two.
So would you characterize Josh Allen then as a generational quarterback?
It took him a little bit longer. I think his rookie year he went to the playoffs though, did he not? Or was that his second year?
That was his second year.
Yeah, his first year he didn't because
his first year he was garbage. Second year they made it, played your Texas.
Yeah, Josh Allen's a generational quarterback. He's a franchise quarterback.
Okay.
My thing is with
hold on. So then let's clarify what's the definition of generational? Because Josh Allen, I say he's got generational talent. Like we think his ceiling of what we think he can hit, he can be that, but he hasn't. He has no accolades for real to go towards being generational. He hasn't won anything. He's got one NFL All-Team Pro, hasn't won an MVP. And I'm like, it's going to be hard for him to be generational because Mahomes is taking it right now. And then behind Mahomes, Lamar has 2 of those MVPs when he hasn't won it. So now it's like, for Josh Allen to be generational, it's going to have to come in the back end of his career. It might not happen. Where he'll be a great quarterback talent, like Drew Brees, great quarterback talent, changed the Saints franchise. But at the end of the day, he was in the league with a Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers, who still only got 1 ring. Peyton Manning, who got multiple. Whereas it's like, okay, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning were really the legends for real. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, they'll be Hall of Fame. But are they in Tom Brady, Peyton Manning's class? No. Mahomes is already solidified his spot, but he's only 28. We got all these quarterbacks. So saying Caleb Williams is going to come in and be generational, in my opinion, is saying you think Caleb Williams is going to come in and he's going to be quarterback too. Because he's not taking Mahomes' top spot. So, but you say he's going to be better than Burrow. He's going to be better than Allen. He's going to be better than Lamar. He's going to be better than Herbert. That's
well, in my head, those guys are generational already.
So, would Phillip Rivers be a generational talent?
No, and that's literally what I was thinking in my head. That's all these guys are. They're just all. When time passes and we're 10 years later from now, they're all going to be. If they continue on the path they're on now, and Patrick's at the top where he's at, they're just going to be Phillip Rivers's.
Like we said, whether it's right or wrong, quarterbacks are going to be judged by winning and championships. It's just the president of history of the game.
Yeah, that sucks.
All these quarterbacks can't win multiple Super Bowls and multiple MVPs, and that's what makes you generational. Like, that's just what it is. Because all these quarterbacks are great.
Is Aaron Rodgers not generational?
He's got 4 MVPs. That's why he's generational.
Okay, so
but it's a difference between a generational player and a talent.
Lamar has 2. Is he not generational?
He's headed towards it because he's one of 7 players to have multiple MVPs now.
So you got to win stuff to like be considered.
Yes, that's what separates you from just being great.
It's one thing, talent versus
that's what we were saying earlier. Like that's what we're saying between the whole comparing receivers to quarterbacks. A lot of people look at quarterbacks as a winning stat thing, and then receivers they just don't care.
I'll give it T-Mac. Everybody says T-Mac could have been a generational player, but he didn't win, and injuries played his career. And Kobe was the same mode, but Kobe won. Kobe is the generational guy, whereas T-Mac is just the guy they talk about what could have been.
They say the same thing, Grant Hill.
So you don't think Caleb Williams can like win MVPs or something like that? That's
I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying,
but you just said he won't be generational.
He can win an MVP. I'm saying coming from all the history with Chicago and the expectations y'all are already throwing on him. No, I don't think he's gonna reach the heights of generation. He can be good. He might even win them a Super Bowl one day. At that point, then it becomes an argument. But I'm like, to throw those generational expectations on him from day one, considering what that franchise has gone through. Like how you said on the last episode, it's just certain franchises, they just don't win at the end of the day. Chicago's one of those franchises. And now you're throwing him into this and telling him he's got to go change that.
Okay, but it was the same thing with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes.
And that's why he's generational.
And Caleb Williams can do that. Why can't Caleb Williams do that?
In 2 years is crazy, Cam. That's crazy.
Mahomes didn't come
it's crazy. It is crazy. It's crazy.
He sat his first year, and in 2018, he hit the scene, and even then, it was like, well, damn, he's good. And then by the end, it's like, oh my God, he's got the ability, but then he lost, and it's like, okay, can he change it around? Then he won the Super Bowl the next year.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's not crazy to think Caleb Williams can come in and do the same thing because he has the tools, he has the talent.
They just saying in 1
but
year.
On paper, though, the Chiefs were already making the playoffs. We had Andy Reid. We just didn't have the quarterback to win us games. Patrick Mahomes came in, and he's that guy. But he's also one of the most clutch players we've ever seen in the NFL. That's a lot for Caleb Williams.
The Bears won 7 games with a really bad quarterback. He could come in and win 9 and 10 and take them to the playoffs. That's easy.
But that's not generational. I will say though.
I didn't say that's generational.
Okay, my fault. I didn't mean to misspeak for you. But I will say I don't think he has to do what you expect him to do in 1 to 2 years to be generational. He could do this later down the line and still be a generational player at some point in time. But 2024, 2025, 2026, it's going to be very hard to solidify yourself as a generational player in the league right now. Now the talent, if he can show us what he got this
Yeah, he
season,
got
and we
generational
know he
talent
got
for sure.
because I'm the biggest hater of Justin Herbert, but apparently he just got generational talent. To me, I feel like he's just a bust. I don't think he's gonna be what everybody wanted him to be, but I'm a hater. He could be a Justin Herbert. He could very well turn out and be a Justin Herbert, and everybody have a high on him every single year. He's just a generational talent at that point because it's just potential.
All right, we'll see. I just think y'all babying this dude for literally no
No,
reason.
you don't baby. I don't know why you don't baby these dudes,
It's
bro. You
his
gotta give these
UT
dudes
bias.
some grace,
Just
bro.
Caleb Williams hit the scene and made that comeback versus his UT boys and killed him. And he did not like him since that day.
It's not even that. I just think
it's not babying, bro. It's just leaving.
I think that Herbert analogy is a phenomenal analogy that I didn't even think of.
Eric's approval.
And the thing with Herbert, though, is, I mean, he had Kellen Moore. He had some pretty good coaching, too. And if Shane Waldron isn't that good of an OC, I think that's going to limit Williams's capability of getting to what he potentially could be. And it wasn't like he was winning a lot at USC or Oklahoma. When you're playing the Pac-12 that historically has bad defenses, they weren't winning that much. And when his worst game last year was against Notre Dame, and that was the most pro-level defense that USC played last year. So I don't know. I mean, could he do it? Yeah, but he's going to need like some coaching. He's going to need a lot of help, and he's going to have to kind of buy into the system because he's at his best when he runs around, ad-libs a lot. You can't do that in the NFL. You have to stick to the reads and stick to the progressions. You can't just go off script and kind of chuck it down the field.
And another example, I mean, we just mentioned earlier pod. Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be generational, and here we are, year 4. The general consensus is he probably didn't deserve the contract he just got because we're still waiting to see something. Even his one playoff win, he was god awful. And if it wasn't for the Chargers charging it up with their generational talent QB at Herbert, he doesn't win that game. And he probably wouldn't have the contract he has today. But like, he had all that. He Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, national championship at Clemson, undefeated. Had only lost one playoff or one football game in his career for like 5 years coming into the NFL. He's been relatively a bust, given that he was supposed to be a generational talent. I'm not saying Caleb Williams can't be that. I'm just saying to throw that on him.
No, you said he can't. You said he can't.
It's highly unlikely if you're gonna throw that on him from day one. It's highly unlikely that those players end up being generational when you throw that on them, especially coming into a generationally bad franchise. I think that's a lot to overcome for him. That's what I'm saying.
That Bears team, I mean, y'all babying this dude so bad. This Bears team is literally like.
So CJ is a generational talent, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And y'all hit the scene last year. Y'all made a lot of good season additions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Super Bowl or bust.
Me personally, yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay, you changed it because I asked you that question a couple weeks ago. And you said no.
As a fan, I want us to go win a Super Bowl. I think it's somewhat.
So this will be the question then. If you said CJ was a generational talent for the Texans, did you say the same thing when I had drafted Deshaun, or no?
No, Deshaun wasn't.
Yes, he did, because we got in an argument when Deshaun Watson first got the starting spot. He's like, we finally got our generational QB, our franchise QB.
I said franchise QB.
Cam, you be high on players, bro.
I said franchise QB for sure. But Deshaun didn't. The things Deshaun did wasn't really like what CJ did.
He got I think.
But you can say that now.
What you mean, like
you can say that now, like you.
In hindsight,
in hindsight, you can say that, but
I was really high
on players, bro. I think that's.
I would say when he first went to Texas, I was down my timeline, see number generational QB all down my timeline. Not saying from you, I'm just saying in general.
And personally, I had
Deshaun
when Deshaun came in for the Texans. Obviously, I'm a Cowboys fan, but all my family's mostly Texans fans. It was all hype. Like I was like, oh my god,
Thanks.
Houston may actually be good. Like they gonna be good.
You also got to understand, we never had a quarterback like that, like ever. So
Yeah,
like,
coming from Matt Schaub and
yeah,
Brock
Matt Schaub,
Osweiler.
T.J.
Brandon
Yates, Case
Whedon.
Keenum.
Yeah.
So I mean, for us to go from like that into like actually having like a franchise quarterback that what Deshaun was supposed to be in, yeah, I mean,
But
the fan base gonna be high. Y'all live in Houston, y'all live in
It's
Texas.
gonna be
Y'all
crazy
gonna
in 4
see
years.
y'all gonna
It's
see
gonna be
that.
crazy 4 years from now
but
when
hold on,
CJ
that
like
was
go down, and then we had the same conversation, but it's CJ name instead of Deshaun.
but that question was also there's a part 2 to that question. It was kind of a setup. I'm sorry, Kim. But I agree with you. I think CJ is generational. I think he's gonna be the one that finally wins y'all a Super Bowl one day. But then that's now Mahomes, CJ. That's 2 generational quarterbacks within this era of football. When do you really just see 3 generational quarterbacks all within the same confines? And you still got Allen, Burrow, Lamar. So that's what I'm saying. You're saying Caleb Williams is gonna
We seen
usurp
3.
all these guys.
We seen Brady,
Manning.
Peyton,
Who else?
Phillip Rivers, man.
Drew.
Dude, you guys can hate on Phillip Rivers all you want. He was 14-2 his first year. He didn't have a
Aaron
losing
Rodgers
season until like his 8th year, man.
You know, Philip Rivers was really, really
He
great.
was
I think
cold.
I think he was more of a franchise quarterback, if anything.
But like I said, winning gets added in the quarterback stuff.
So
and
if-
because Philip didn't win, he's not generational.
If Aaron Rodgers doesn't win that Super Bowl, is he not generational then?
I always say,
I mean, I'm biased.
look, so
I would say no. I would say that would make him. I don't know if failure's not the word. I'm kind of blanking on the word I want to use, but it would be like one of the most upsetting NFL careers ever. If he gets his 4 MVP still and doesn't win a Super Bowl ever, it would be one of the more upsetting NFL careers of all time.
Because this is
that
what I would
year
say
they-
about.
sorry.
No, this is what I would say about Aaron Rodgers. For him to have all that talent, even past his first Super Bowl, like the argument I made.
What talent?
What?
What talent?
Later on in the career, like when he had Devontae, they ain't calm down.
No, it was no.
Because-
it was
because when
he had no talent like that, man.
He didn't. So you tell me. So when they went 13-3, they weren't doing anything.
I'm saying like what like receiver core talent. I mean, it was
That's when he still had
Devontae.
Jordy. It was Jordy and this for Devontae even.
Oh,
Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson.
No, Greg Jennings was old, man, at the time.
He was one of their key receivers in the Super Bowl when.
Are you talking about? Then he's talking about like with Devontae. When Devontae came on scene,
They was routinely 13-3, 12-4.
Every time,
with
and they ain't go nowhere.
With McCarthy, with LaFleur,
they were 13-3 every single year. And everybody said, "Oh yes, Aaron Rodgers can get another one. Oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers can get another one." They were literally going through the NFC, and then as soon as they get to the second round, poof.
And part of being generational is you're supposed to elevate that talent.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying he just brought up like they didn't really have talent like that on the offensive side.
I feel like
go back and look at those receivers, dog.
But
like he had a few great guys, but other than that, it wasn't crazy.
Okay, so my thing is this. So I'm glad you brought that point up. All right, cool. So you say he ain't had that much talent, right? After he won his first Super Bowl, a lot of people were saying that the reason why I call Brady stuff generational stuff because outside of Gronk, and I guess you could say Wes Welker, nobody was a really big name receiver for him like that. You could say Randy Moss. That's back in 2000. Even when he had Randy, he lost to Eli Manning twice.
He didn't even win with Wes Welker.
Yes. So cool. But my point is that man Brady. The reason why I said generational, he had Chris Logan, win Super Bowl with him as one of his best receivers. Why can't Aaron Rodgers win with Devontae? And Devontae is 10 times better than Chris Logan. Chris Logan ain't in the league no more. James White not in the league no more.
I mean, Brady is Brady, but
but talent wise, Aaron Rodgers is better than him talent wise though.
Brady without Gronk was nothing. We never really seen Brady win without Gronk, truthfully.
Okay, and you can say the same thing with A-Rod without Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, I mean Jordan Nelson is not like Gronk. Like he's not
Gronk, but
he's not on the same level.
But he's definitely
Jordan Nelson is not like a top 100 receiver.
He saved Aaron Rodgers like a lot.
Yeah, he did, but he's not like a top 100 receiver though, or anywhere close to that.
So to Green Bay he is.
What were you about to say, Eric?
I was just to say we got to remember Packers were losing that NFC Championship game to the Bears, and then Cutler got hurt, and I think Chad Henke came in, and that's when they won that game. If Cutler doesn't get hurt, I don't think Rodgers wins a ship. I don't think he wins a Super Bowl at all.
And if Rashard Mendenhall doesn't fumble, he probably doesn't win the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. I mean,
shoulda, coulda, woulda, man. He won it, so
I props to him.
And so that's why I was
take it away.
like that, and that's why I make my argument like as Rodgers and them got old, like as he got older and stuff. When I was saying about talent wise, is that he actually had like a pure top 5 receiver. Like you said, since he been in the league, like since Aaron Rodgers was in the league and stuff like that, you know, the teams he had and stuff, he didn't really have a top 5 wide receiver. And so then you getting in a second round pick 2014 of Devontae Adams coming out of Fresno State, going crazy. And you know, stuff like that. So he's supposed to, especially 2017, you're really supposed to go far right there. So I didn't understand.
Yeah, no, he definitely had some bad choke jobs for sure. I'm not denying that.
That's what I'm saying. He had a lot.
And that 2020
for a QB to be 13-3, and you have 3 straight choke jobs like that, and you won 4 MVPs. I don't know, bro. That pisses me off.
Because that would be like if Peyton Manning never got his Super Bowl.
And Peyton Manning got his first win at 27.
He was generational. He was winning all the MVPs. He was, for the longest, he was clearly more talented than Brady, but he wasn't winning. It's kind of that same thing. That's why I'm like, to be generational, you have to have the talent, you have to have the accolades, and you have to have the winning results. If Caleb Williams is truly going to be generational, you are essentially saying he's going to come in, he's going to dominate, and he's going to be better than CJ. He's going to be better than Allen. He's going to be better than Burrow, all of them. And he's going to be in contention with Mahomes. He's saying he's usurping all of them.
That very much could happen. Like, you can't just say no. That just can't happen. No, it definitely could happen.
And I can win $50 million tomorrow when I buy my scratch off ticket.
I think I don't
very much could happen.
It very much could happen. So I mean,
but it's not likely.
I don't think that's gonna happen with the Chicago Bears. I think he'll be good.
We'll see.
Turn the franchise around a bit, but generational, I don't know.
We'll see.
Cam, you should bet the odds then on Caleb Williams. You should bet the odds on him then.
Can't be in the GOAT. Is there a bet somewhere out there for that? Caleb Williams?
No, bro. Knowing these betting stuff nowadays, it probably is, bro. You can bet on the election, bro. I'm pretty sure you can bet on that.
But also, I think partially the reason too, and I'll make this the last point before we end this. The problem with saying he's generational is now, since those expectations are so high, now you have all the freedom in the world to call him a bust if he falls anywhere short of that. And
for sure.
That's why you want to do it?
Nah. I don't want to do it because of that. I'm just saying.
This gonna be his NFL Luka.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's crazy.
Not at all.
That's crazy.
I'm actually one of Caleb's biggest supporters right now. Supporters right now. So I hope he does good. I hope he does really great. Actually.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay.
So okay. So what do you think his rookie year ends like? Stat line, Chicago record, and then we'll end this.
I think Caleb. First of all, I think he's gonna win rookie of the year. I think he probably throws for over 4,000, probably 4,200. I give him like 23 touchdowns, probably like 9 interceptions, around that. I think Bears go. I think they win nine games. I think they stick into the playoffs. And they don't have to win a playoff game. They can just make it, and that'll be a very successful year. That'll be expectation.
A Super Bowl.
That'd be exactly. That's the expectations I have for that group, because that group is really damn good. So
now, if the Bears don't make the playoffs, do they get rid of Eberflus?
Yeah,
got to.
Sure.
They have to.
For sure.
They better, but then
all that talent they have.
Eric, tell them the caveat with being a Bears head coach. What is it? You have to be Catholic or something?
So, to be the Bears head coach, and a lot of people don't realize this, you have to go to Saturday night mass with the owners. So that's why they can never get any of these big-time coaches, and they have to settle for these, like, second-tier assistant coaches, because nobody who would coach, like a Harbaugh, would go there. Oh, yeah, the Saturday night, let me go to Saturday night mass with the McCaskies. No one's going to do that. So unless the McCaskies get rid of that rule, they're always going to kind of have this coaching hole and be up against it in the 8-ball.
That's crazy.
And this is the generational trauma Caleb is now
No
facing.
disrespect.
But I mean, that could be the
Dumb
thing
as-
where he doesn't make it. Talent-wise, he has it, but he just doesn't get the coaching that he needs to move that needle and reach that potential.
Is Ben Johnson Catholic?
No comment.
Maybe they could turn him over.
Wow.
But Eric, we
Paul.
appreciate you coming on for the first time in a long time. NFL season kicking up, so we'll be seeing you a lot. I know I'll be back on your pod a little bit, and we potentially have some more in store, some special things lined up this season that I'd like to bring you in on. I'll tell you about a little bit later off air until we announce official plans for this season. But would you like to have any closing remark? Shout out your podcast, tell the people where they can find you at.
Always enjoy coming on. Anytime you guys need me, just shoot me a message and I will be here. My stuff comes out every Tuesday night, live, 10 p.m. Eastern-ish, about half an hour, talking about sports, talk about betting, and I have a podcast that comes out Friday afternoon sometime.
Oh. Thank you. So that was our NFC North preview. Like I said, this is Division 8 of 8. We now wrapped up our whole preview look. Next time you see us will probably be our fantasy. We have a fantasy league again this year. We'll be doing the live draft Tuesday. Was that September 3rd, I think?
Yeah, 3rd.
Okay, so we'll have that going, and then we'll drop our complete 2024-25 NFL predictions for the season that Thursday morning of the league kicking off with my Chiefs versus the Ravens that night. A lot to come in store, man. I Need a Sports Pod. We're about to go through a little makeover a little bit. Got a lot of good things happening. So stay tuned. This episode will probably be out like on maybe Friday, maybe next Monday. We'll see. It depends on how my editing can go and everything with that. But yeah, appreciate y'all if y'all listened all the way through. Definitely a good episode filled with some good arguing, some good healthy arguing. We disagreed on a lot, so I'm happy we disagreed so we get some of these good combos in. But I'm on the record. Caleb Williams, not generational. Cam, he's clipping that.
Say it
5
again.
years from now, Caleb Williams is not generational. Look at
Yeah,
that.
And Cam Swan is going to three-peat the fantasy football league.
Okay, yeah, that's not happening this year. That is not happening.
See how you just killed the whole group chat? Nobody responded.
Like that.
Oh man, but again, we appreciate y'all listening all the way through. It's your favorite kids from the neighborhood signing off. Peace. If I can get to the outro.
I need